5 YouTubers. 5 untimely tragedies that shocked millions of fans across the globe. Passion and adventure can turn deadly in an instant. Join us as we explore these stories and try to find the answer to a question as old as time. What price do we pay for chasing our dreams? February 5th, 2021 was supposed to be a typical evening at Urban Air Adventure Park in Nashville. The venue was known for family-friendly fun, but unbeknownst to everyone there, tragedy was about to strike in a way few could have predicted. The shocking event would spark debate about social media responsibility and the blurred lines between entertainment and real danger. Timothy Wilkes was a soft-spoken and responsible 20-year-old. He had worked at Walmart for several years before going to school to pursue a career in HVAC, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning. As responsible as he was, Timothy had another passion: YouTube. On the fateful February night, Timothy set out with a friend to film a video, part of an increasingly popular genre of prank videos, many of which blur the line between humor and threat. Their plan was to stage a robbery for the camera, aiming to capture the shocked reactions of unsuspecting bystanders, a concept that has garnered millions of views on the platform. The location they chose for their video was the parking lot of Urban Air. Families were inside enjoying the attractions, unaware of the tragic event unfolding just outside. It was then that Timothy and his friend approached a group of people. Perhaps the two of them had failed to think their plan through. Perhaps they had failed to realize just how dangerous their idea was, not only for those who would have fallen for their prank, but also for themselves. As they approached the group of people, Timothy and his friend carried butcher knives. To make matters worse, knives were not props. They were real, sharp, and dangerous. To onlookers, this was no joke. It looked and felt like an armed robbery in progress. Among the group they approached was 23-year-old David Starnes Jr. Unaware that he was part of a staged video, Starnes saw the knives and reacted in fear for his life and the lives of those around him. In an instant, the situation escalated from a misguided prank to a deadly confrontation. Starnes, acting in self-defense, pulled out a gun and shot Timothy Wilkes, killing him on the spot. And just like that, a 20-year-old was dead. When police arrived at the scene, Starnes admitted to the shooting. He told investigators he had no idea it was a prank and believed he was in real danger. Witnesses confirmed that Wilkes and his friend had been filming a robbery prank for a YouTube video. Despite the tragic outcome, no charges were filed against Starnes. Police deemed his actions to be in self-defense. Timothy Wilkes' death deeply affected his grandmother, Shirley Berry, who later expressed her devastation and confusion. She revealed that she had been unaware of Timothy's involvement in YouTube videos, calling it a mystery to her. As she grieved the loss of her grandson, she hoped others might learn from this tragedy. She called on parents and guardians to be more aware of what their children are doing online, particularly on platforms like YouTube, where dangerous trends can lead to real-life consequences. What happened that night in Nashville was a confluence of poor judgment, fear, and a deadly misunderstanding. A young man with his future ahead of him lost his life, and another will carry the burden of having taken that life, even if in self-defense. Timothy Wilkes is remembered as a role model for his younger siblings, a serious young man who carried himself with dignity. It was the kind of stunt that Nishu Deshwal had performed countless times before, the kind of stunt that had brought him millions of views over the years. But this time was different. This time something went terribly wrong, and Nishu's life, which had been dedicated to creating thrilling and dangerous content for his millions of followers, ended in an instant. Nishu Deshwal was not just another social media influencer. With over 1.5 million YouTube subscribers and 1.3 million Instagram followers, he had built a massive online empire. His wasn't the usual form of content. Nishu specialized in stunts involving large, heavy vehicles in challenging terrains. His stunts had captivated audiences, racking up over 300 million views across his videos. One of his most watched videos alone had garnered an impressive 25 million views. But this fame was built on a foundation of increasingly dangerous stunts, a gamble with risk that would eventually catch up with him. Nishu's stunts often involved testing the limits of massive machines, particularly tractors, which he drove over unstable ground to the delight of his viewers. For 3 years, his followers watched in awe as he maneuvered these heavy vehicles, balancing them on 2 wheels, pulling off near impossible tricks on soft terrain, and constantly pushing the limits of what the machines and he could handle. But on this fateful Wednesday, the danger became all too real. That day, Nishu attempted one of his trademark stunts, lifting the front wheels of a large tractor into the air, making the vehicle balance precariously on its rear wheels. However, the ground beneath him was loose and unstable, making the already challenging maneuver even riskier. Although Nishu had performed similar stunts before, this time the massive machine began to tip backward as the rear wheels lost traction on the loose soil. The tractor teetered at a dangerous angle, and before anyone could react, it flipped completely, with the entire weight of the vehicle crashing down on Nishu. Nishu was crushed between the metal chassis of the tractor and the ground. His friends, standing nearby and filming the stunt, screamed in horror as they helplessly watched the tragedy unfold. The aftermath of his death left his fans and the wider community grappling with the sudden and shocking loss of someone so young. To make matters worse, the 22-year-old left behind a wife and a 6-month-old son. Even though the man had been on a dangerous path, though his followers were accustomed to watching him cheat death in each video, no one had expected the risk to become a reality. As fans mourned Nishu Deshwal's death, questions arose about the factors that led to the fatal accident. Speculation swirled online, with some pointing to possible faults in the tractor's design. Fans noted that the rollover protection system, which should have shielded Nishu, had failed catastrophically. Some suggested that aftermarket parts may have been improperly sized, while others argued that tractors were simply not designed to perform the kind of stunts Nishu regularly attempted. The weight distribution of the engine, the softness of the terrain, and the immense pressure on the vehicle's structural integrity all combined to turn the stunt into a deadly accident. What happened on that riverbank in Panipat was a tragic culmination of years spent chasing online fame through ever riskier content. Nishu Deshwal's death serves as a sobering reminder of the dangers influencers face when attempting to entertain by pushing physical and mechanical limits. In January 2015, fitness model and actor George Gregory Plitt Jr., better known as Greg Plitt, was no stranger to daring videos. The 37-year-old had a fearless approach to life, one that he incorporated into his videos. But on January 17, 2015, what started as just another shoot ended in a heart-wrenching loss, leaving countless people devastated. Greg Plitt had always been a larger-than-life figure, inspiring others with his incredible physique, discipline, and relentless drive. A West Point graduate and former Army Ranger, Plitt had spent 5 years serving his country, a testament to his unyielding determination and dedication. His military background shaped him into the disciplined, hard-working man he became, and his confidence was infectious. After leaving the Army, Plitt transitioned into a career in fitness and modeling, quickly becoming a dominant figure in the industry. His face and chiseled body graced the covers of over 250 fitness magazines, making him one of the most recognizable figures in fitness culture. He wasn't just a fitness model, though. Plitt was also an actor, appearing on the Bravo television series Workout and NBC's soap opera Days of Our Lives. His likeness even served as the basis for the muscular, godlike figure of Dr. Manhattan in the 2009 film Watchmen. He had built an empire of fitness motivation and self-discipline, attracting a massive following that admired his relentless work ethic and drive to push boundaries. Fans flocked to his social media channels for inspiration, and Plitt was always eager to deliver. However, his thirst for excitement and desire to push the limits would ultimately lead him down a fatal path. It was January 17, 2015, when Plitt and 2 crew members set up along the railroad tracks in Burbank, California, to film a video meant to promote an energy drink. It wasn't the first time Plitt had filmed on those tracks. He had previously filmed videos of himself performing exercises on the rails as trains passed behind him. This time, however, things would go tragically wrong. Plitt began running alongside the track, seemingly unaware of the southbound Metrolink commuter train approaching behind him. A rock climber, skydiver, and all-around adrenaline junkie, Plitt had jumped out of planes more than 1,000 times during his military career. Risk was nothing new to him, but this time his confidence betrayed him. When the train's horn blared, Plitt and his crew likely believed it was on an adjacent track. He continued running, trying to capture the perfect shot, but in a cruel twist of fate, Plitt was on the same track as the oncoming train. What happened next was irreversible and horrifying. Investigators later determined that Plitt had misjudged the situation, perhaps not realizing the train was barreling down on the track he was running along. In a desperate attempt to escape, Plitt tried to run out of the train's path, but he failed to do so. The train, unable to stop in time despite the engineer applying the emergency brakes, struck Plitt, ending his life almost instantly. The entire incident was captured on the train's onboard cameras. In the wake of his death, Plitt's family, friends, and fans struggled to make sense of the tragedy. His girlfriend, Christina Steiskal, tearfully explained that he was just trying to get the best shot, echoing what many close to him had said about his relentless pursuit of excellence. He lived life on the edge, constantly pushing himself to new heights, and it was this drive that ultimately led to the fatal miscalculation. Plitt's death was later ruled a tragic accident. Greg Plitt died of multiple blunt force injuries. While his friends and family mourned the loss of a man they described as larger than life, investigators worked to understand why such a dangerous shoot had been conducted without proper permits or safety measures in place. The filming location was in a restricted area of the tracks, and no one had the authority to be there. Plitt's death was a stark reminder of the risks that come with pushing physical limits, even for someone as experienced and strong as he was. His friends described him as someone who believed there was nothing he couldn't do, but on that fateful day, he encountered a challenge he could not overcome. Greg Plitt left behind a legacy marked by a tragic end, a sobering reminder of the dangers that come with the thirst for adventure. It was July 2021, and Albert Deerlund was on another one of his adventures. At 22 years old, Albert was a beloved Danish YouTuber known for his fun personality and creative content. That July, Albert's work had brought him to the Italian Alps. He planned to film a video for his channel on the mountain, but Albert never got to shoot his video. Instead, a devastating accident claimed his life. Albert Deerlund's rise to prominence began in 2016 when he joined YouTube and started sharing a range of content, from comedy sketches to music videos. Over the years, he amassed a large following, garnering more than 170,000 subscribers on YouTube and over 230,000 followers on Instagram. His energetic and often unconventional approach to entertainment resonated with viewers who were drawn to his humor, creativity, and adventurous spirit. In 2018, Deerlund even ventured into acting, starring in the comedy film Team Albert, a story about a high schooler's quest to become a YouTube sensation. The film was well received and won the Blockbuster Audience Award at the Danish Film Awards in 2019. Further solidifying Deerlund's place in the Danish entertainment industry. Despite his light-hearted content, Deerlund was known to push the boundaries in his videos, often involving stunts and risk-taking. Some of his content stirred controversy for its daring nature, including moments where he shaved his head or licked snails for the camera. But these antics were part of what made him popular among a younger audience seeking bold, unapologetic entertainment. Deerlund's work reflected his playful yet fearless attitude towards life, a trait that endeared him to many. His fans adored his willingness to take risks, but sadly, the same daring nature led to the accident that claimed his life. And you believe in the importance of telling these tales with care and respect, consider subscribing. Your support allows us to continue researching and sharing these stories responsibly, ensuring that the lessons they contain reach those who need to hear them. On July 28, 2021, Deerlund was filming in the Italian Alps, specifically on Mount Seseda in Val Gardena, a region known for its dramatic cliffs and towering peaks. Deerlund, accompanied by friends, was attempting to capture footage for his channel on a hiking route with steep, rocky slopes. But as he filmed on the mountain, something happened. Maybe it was because of inattention, or maybe it was because of recklessness. Albert was filming on a hiking trail that links two mountain peaks. The trail was steep and rocky. The unimaginable happened in an instant. 22-year-old Albert Dearland stumbled and fell from a staggering height of 656 feet. His friends immediately alerted the authorities. A rescue helicopter was dispatched instantly, but the rescue operation itself was complicated by difficult conditions, including dense fog. When rescuers finally reached Albert Dearland, the YouTuber was pronounced dead at the scene. According to reports, Dearland's death occurred in a matter of seconds. Friends, fellow creators, and fans expressed their grief online. Many tributes poured in for the young YouTuber, with Danish social media personalities sharing heartfelt messages in his honor. As those who knew him mourned his passing, they also celebrated the joy he brought into the lives of many. Dearland's memory lives on through his videos, a lasting testament to his creativity as well as his humor. The online community was struck by tragedy in July 2019 when Grant Thompson, the star and creator of the popular YouTube channel The King of Random, lost his life in a baffling accident. At 38 years old, Thompson was known for his inventive and often daring content, which blended science experiments with creative hands-on projects. His death shocked millions of fans who had grown to admire his curiosity and enthusiasm. Grant Thompson's journey began far from the world of viral fame. Born in 1980, Thompson was a commercial airline pilot living in Farmington, Utah. At 29, he developed a fascination with understanding how things worked. In his spare time, he began tinkering with random household objects and experimenting with basic scientific principles. It wasn't long before these hobby projects caught the attention of his friends and family. Thompson decided to document his experiments on video and share them online. Thompson created his YouTube channel in January 2010, but it wasn't until 2011 that he seriously pursued the idea of making videos focused on life hacks, experiments, and DIY projects. A friend had jokingly referred to him as the King of Random, a name that stuck and eventually became the brand for his channel. By 2012, the King of Random was steadily growing, capturing the imaginations of viewers with its blend of fun science and practical innovation. Thompson's relatable explanations, combined with his infectious energy, made the channel a hit. Over time, it gained more than 11 million subscribers and accumulated over 2.5 billion views. Thompson's content was varied, often involving large quantities of everyday items, quirky experiments, and unique how-to projects. Whether demonstrating how to make homemade fireworks or testing the tensile strength of duct tape, his channel became a go-to for viewers curious about the possibilities of everyday science. Despite his success, Thompson's creative pursuits sometimes brought him into conflict with local authorities in Utah due to the experimental nature of his projects, which he filmed in his backyard. However, his passion for discovery remained undeterred, and his influence in the online world continued to grow. By 2019, Thompson had become a well-established figure in the YouTube community, but despite his fame, Thompson remained deeply committed to his family, including his wife and 4 sons. In the months leading up to his death, he began to distance himself from the day-to-day demands of the channel to spend more time with them. Unfortunately, it was during this period that his adventurous spirit would lead to tragedy. On July 29, 2019, Grant Thompson set off for what was meant to be a memorable paragliding trip near Sand Hollow State Park in Hurricane, Utah. The man had taken up paragliding only 5 months prior. It was an activity that fit the risk-taking that had defined his career. But Grant Thompson failed to return home that evening. Naturally, his family grew concerned and contacted local authorities. A search was launched, and officers used the GPS locator Thompson had been carrying to track his last known location. Hours later, rescuers made a gruesome discovery. They found Grant Thompson's body and paragliding equipment in a remote and rugged area of the park. A medical helicopter was deployed to retrieve Thompson's remains. Tragically, video footage from his recording device captured the final moments leading up to his death. According to investigators, a sudden change in the wind caused an updraft that collapsed Thompson's parachute. Though he attempted to deploy his reserve chute, he was too close to the ground, about 100 feet, for it to fully open. Thompson died on impact, merely 4 seconds after the malfunction occurred. A video titled "Grant Thompson in Memoriam" was posted on his channel the day after his death, paying tribute to the man who had built a global community around curiosity, learning, and experimentation. These 5 stories serve as haunting reminders of the price that can be paid when the pursuit of content creation crosses into dangerous territory. Each creator was driven by passion, creativity, and the desire to entertain their audiences. Yet in their final moments, the cameras that had brought them fame became silent witnesses to their tragic ends. The red recording light that once promised viral success now stands as a testament to lives cut short, dreams unfulfilled, and the devastating consequences of pushing boundaries too far. In the end, no amount of views, likes, or subscribers can bring back what was lost. 5 young lives that remind us that behind every channel, every video, and every subscriber count is a human being whose story deserves to be remembered with dignity and respect.